Hello, one person who listens to all my podcasts. This is the one person who makes all my podcasts. I listened to a video from a YouTube musician the other day that started a lot of his with that, and I got a kick out of it, so I wanted to appropriate it. But I wanted to touch base on a few things today and talk about what the state of the economy is in. First, you know that interest rates are up. So what does that mean? It means that typically multiples for businesses, the purchase price is going to go down. We've talked about how banks have said that their phones are not ringing with deals the way they were ringing for the last 4 years or so. That means less deals, means also they're going to be looking for good deals to make. They are like any other business. They have to sell their product. In a bank's case or financial institution, it is capital, which is their product. So they still have to get that out the door, as one banker said. So they'll be looking for stronger deals. We should be finding stronger deals. The challenge there is going to be that for many sellers, they will not see that their business should be worth what it is today. They've missed a cycle in which it was better to probably sell it if they came through the COVID, where they began to rebound and then they got hit again with interest rates. So that's an education to bring them to the reality of what their business is. It's also, if you look at a bank and say a bank's going to say that the multiple is less, it provides a pretty good opportunity to talk about seller finance, meaning that essentially you name the price, I'll name the terms within reason, so you could offer a higher price than what a bank might value the business at, as long as the terms were such that the cash flow is good. And by that, you've got to have cash flow that covers debt service, and in this market, you've got to have a pretty strong margin of excess cash flow in case something happens, like variable interest rates. So in that case, you probably want a debt coverage ratio of 2 or better. So what else happens? If there aren't as much deals being looked at and done by banks, that will filter down to accountants and lawyers. And so they will similarly be looking for business. Now, one of the things that's important to point out is you are a stream of business. You are not a single transaction. So if they're looking for a steady stream of business, which will carry them through the economic ups and downs, you might just be the one that could provide that for them. So remember that. And I think one of the things that I certainly have seen recently is how people view their day job and the security of their day job. And there are certainly companies now that are laying off. I've had a few mentees that have had to step away from mentoring for financial reasons, one of which, actually two most recently, both lost jobs. And one of the things I pointed out to them is that a lot of people think there's security in a job. Well, if you ask those two people, they would say, well, there's not much security right now. And so in those cases, hopefully that becomes a wake-up call to say, I'm on a treadmill here with my day job. If you're not working your to-do list, you are working someone else's to-do list. I would encourage you to work your own to-do list, meaning your own goals, your own eventual state in life, and rely on yourself for that. But one of the things in the people that got laid off that I saw was what was holding them back in this process of business acquisition is what caused the problem for them in their job as well, their day job. One of those people said that their outreach and volume just wasn't enough in the day job to let them hit their goals that were required to remain employed. Well, guess what? That's exactly the problem that they had in this process as well. So I would encourage you to remember that. Those people that have had day jobs that have encroached, I understand that you need to have some income and pay some bills and rent and food and family needs. I understand all of that. But I've put together a course on how to acquire a virtual assistant, a VA. And the people who have done that Many of those have just said, I just don't have enough time with my day job to put all the time into this business acquisition process that I need to. And for those that have been able to utilize a VA, with two exceptions, they've all said what a game changer this is. People that weren't able to have conversations have now blocked some time from their day job where they can have conversations. They've got a VA that sends messages as them essentially and books those calls. So they wake up in the morning, they've got X number of calls in the time that they allotted for it. They didn't have to do all that data work. They didn't have to set up the meetings. Be careful what you allow a VA to interact with your prospects with, but there are certainly templates where they can do that, particularly on LinkedIn. They can send the connection requests, they can send the messages, they can give the request for a meeting, some times that are available for you, and set those up essentially such that all you need to do is do some background before that call, and then you get up and do that call. So really, really helpful from that standpoint. If you're struggling with how to begin some of these conversations, whether that's board members, bankers, professionals, I put together actually a series of templates on that. That is a free course, and just go over to brucewhipple.com/free class. But remember the times we're in, remember the positives and negatives. I think there's more positives than negatives as a result of where we are, but I'm an optimistic guy. And this process certainly is not easy. I've said that. It's simple, though. It's if you follow the steps, if you know what to do, if you take action, you will be in a much better chance to succeed than those that do not follow the steps, don't take any action, etc., etc. And a lot of that is deciding what's important to you, remembering the reasons why it's important, doing the affirmations, doing your goals, write your obituary, those things, and then utilize what we talked about previously, the Ivy Lee method, where every day you have a list of the most important things to do to move the needle, and I would encourage you to put a time next to that. And you will, if you do that, accomplish more than if you do not do that. So again, if you want some conversation starters, go over to brucewhipple.com/free course. And again, thank you for listening to this podcast. And as always, I intend to, and hopefully do, give you actionable items in these podcasts and YouTube videos that you can use to move the needle for yourself.